Most people live their lives in a state of constant resistance. They resist what is happening, what has happened, and what might happen. From the moment they wake up, they are in a battle with life. There is an internal tug-of-war between what they want and what is actually unfolding around them. This resistance to life, to its flow, to its circumstances, to its unpredictability, is one of the biggest reasons why people experience stress, anxiety, and frustration. Resistance comes from a place of fear. It's a fear of the unknown, a fear of loss, a fear of failure. People fear the unknown because it challenges their sense of control. When life doesn't go according to their plan, they resist it because they feel they must fix it, control it, or avoid it. But in doing so, they often make things worse, because resistance does not bring resolution, it only brings more struggle. When we resist something, we're not engaging with it. We're pushing against it, trying to shut it out, deny it, or change it without understanding its nature. This resistance creates an internal conflict that prevents us from experiencing life fully. For example, when you're stuck in traffic and all you can think about is how much you hate being there, you are resisting the situation. Instead of accepting it, you are engaged in a battle with it, trying to force it to be something it is not. In that moment, your mind is consumed with frustration and anger, blocking any possibility of peace or clarity. Similarly, in relationships, many people resist their emotions or the behaviors of others. If they feel hurt or rejected, they resist those feelings, pushing them down, or they resist the other person's actions by shutting them out. In doing so, they miss the opportunity to understand, to heal, or to grow. Resistance cuts off the natural flow of connection and understanding. The more you resist, the less you are able to move freely in life. Life becomes a series of battles, you against your own feelings, you against others, you against the world. Every moment becomes a fight, but when you stop resisting, something remarkable happens. You become open to the flow of life. You stop fighting what is happening, and instead, you begin to engage with it. Resistance is the opposite of receptivity. To be receptive means to allow things to come as they are, without trying to change or control them. Receptivity does not mean passivity. It means a state of being open, flexible, and willing to accept what is happening without judgment or fear. It means letting go of the need to control everything and allowing life to unfold naturally. When you stop resisting, you can actually begin to move with the energy of life. Instead of pushing against the current, you begin to ride it, to flow with it. In this way, you stop wasting energy on unnecessary battles. You become more efficient and effective in your actions. The universe works with you, not against you. Life starts to seem less like an obstacle course and more like a path that is already laid out for you, waiting for you to walk on it. One of the most powerful ways to stop resisting is to simply accept what is. Acceptance doesn't mean you like it or agree with it. It means you stop fighting against it. You acknowledge that it is what it is, and in doing so, you free yourself from the struggle. It's a shift from "why is this happening to me?" to "this is happening, and I am going to navigate through it." This shift opens up new possibilities for growth, healing, and understanding. It's important to realize that resistance doesn't stop the inevitable from happening. If you resist a storm, it won't make it go away. If you resist your emotions, they won't disappear. If you resist change, it will still come. The only thing resistance does is make the experience more painful and prolonged. It's like trying to swim against a current. The more you fight it, the harder you make it for yourself. In life, you are constantly presented with challenges, opportunities, and changes. These are not obstacles meant to harm you, but experiences meant to shape you, to help you evolve. But when you resist them, you miss out on the lessons they offer. You miss the opportunity to grow, to transform, to become something greater. The only way to fully experience life with all its beauty, complexity, and mystery is to stop resisting it. When you stop resisting, you make room for new possibilities to emerge. You open the door for creativity, for inspiration, for solutions to present themselves. You become more attuned to the rhythms of life, and you begin to see patterns and connections that were once hidden. Resistance closes doors. receptivity opens them. When you stop resisting, you invite grace and ease into your life. You start to understand that life is not something to be conquered, but something to be experienced with awareness and presence. The moment you stop resisting, you stop fighting against your own life. You start working with it rather than against it. You stop seeing every challenge as a threat and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Life becomes less of a struggle and more of a flow. When you stop resisting, you finally make space for life to truly begin. Begging for something or someone, whether it be for success, for love, or for approval, is an act of desperation. It comes from a place of inadequacy, a belief that we are not enough as we are, and that we need something external to complete us. In essence, begging is the exact opposite of living with abundance. When we beg, we are telling the universe that we lack something, and in doing so, we are actually affirming our own sense of scarcity. Scarcity, as you know, is a mental trap. It is a belief that there is never enough, and because of this belief, we cling to things and people in ways that are suffocating, limiting, and ultimately unproductive. Begging is not just about asking for material possessions or external validation. It is an emotional state. It shows up when we seek approval, when we try to manipulate situations to meet our needs, or when we live in constant fear that we might not get what we think we deserve. This begging doesn't just happen with other people, it happens within ourselves. We beg our minds to quiet down, we beg for clarity, for peace, for freedom from anxiety, but in that begging we are pushing ourselves into deeper states of disempowerment. When you beg, you are not acting from your highest potential, you are acting from a place of lack and fear. What happens when we beg for something? Think about it deeply. When you beg, you are putting yourself in a subordinate position. You are positioning yourself below whatever it is you desire. You may not realize it, but in those moments you are lowering your own sense of self-worth. When you beg for someone to love you or validate you, you are saying to them that you are not whole unless they give you what you are seeking. You are giving away your power in that moment. You are handing over your autonomy and your sense of inner strength to someone or something external. This is not a place from which you can live freely and authentically. Begging also implies that you believe you are at the mercy of something or someone. It suggests that you have no control over your situation and that your well-being is dependent on forces outside your own power. In a world where so much is out of our control, it is crucial to remember that the one thing we can always control is our response to what happens. If you allow yourself to beg for things, you are allowing external circumstances to dictate your state of mind. You become reactive, not proactive. You are at the mercy of the whims of the world, constantly hoping and waiting for someone to throw you a lifeline. However, life does not work on the basis of begging. The universe does not operate like a vending machine where you insert enough coins of desire and hope, and it will give you what you want. Life does not respond to desperation, nor does it operate on fear. Life is a force of creation, not of compulsion. When you beg, you cut yourself off from the natural flow of life. You try to control something that is beyond your control, and in doing so, you waste energy and time on things that don't yield true results. Begging also blocks the flow of grace. Life, or what you might call grace, does not flow when there is desperation in your heart. Grace flows when you are grounded, when you trust the process of life, and when you are aligned with your purpose. When you beg, you send out a signal that you are not aligned, that you don't trust life. Instead of being a magnet for what you need, you become an obstacle, repelling the very things you are seeking. The universe, or the force of life, does not work based on fear. It works based on energy, alignment, and flow. If you are vibrating at a frequency of desperation, that is exactly what you will attract. The energy you give out is the energy you receive. When you live in a state of begging, you are radiating a frequency of lack. It's as though you are telling the universe, I am incomplete without this. I need this to feel whole. And as a result, the universe responds by reinforcing this sense of lack. The people, circumstances, and opportunities that might bring you what you desire are not attracted to your frequency of desperation. Instead, they move away as they are not in resonance with the energy of abundance. But here is the key: when you stop begging, you create space for what you need to come to you naturally. Life responds not to desperation, but to clarity, confidence, and alignment. When you stop begging, you start acting from a place of power. You begin to trust that whatever you need will come to you at the right time and in the right way. You are no longer seeking validation or approval from outside sources. You are grounded in your own value and your own inner strength. You understand that you are not a beggar in this life, but a participant in its abundance. When you stop begging, you open yourself to the possibility of receiving. The difference between begging and receiving is profound. Begging comes from a state of lack. Receiving comes from a state of acceptance. Receiving does not imply that you are powerless or that you are dependent on something external. It simply means that you are open to the gifts that life has to offer without clinging, without desperation. Life gives in abundance to those who are ready to accept it. Most people live their lives as though they are in a constant battle with the world around them. They push and push, trying to force things into place, thinking that if they just work hard enough or control enough, they will succeed. They believe that success comes from external effort and that through sheer willpower they can overcome any obstacle. However, this mentality often leads to burnout, frustration, and an endless cycle of striving without satisfaction. What many fail to realize is that real success doesn't come from forceful effort. It comes from alignment. Alignment with your inner self, your purpose, and the natural flow of life. When you are aligned, things happen naturally. It's not about pushing against life, it's about moving with it. There's a difference between effort and struggle. Effort is the energy you put forth to create, to manifest, and to do what is necessary. Struggle, on the other hand, is when you're constantly fighting, trying to control or change things that are beyond your control. You can put in effort without struggling, but when you struggle, you end up exhausting yourself and losing clarity. Alignment is about being in tune with yourself and with life itself. It's about recognizing that the world doesn't revolve around your effort to control it. The more you try to force things, the more resistance you create, and the more difficult it becomes to move forward. Alignment, however, removes that resistance. It allows you to flow effortlessly toward your goals because you're no longer fighting against the natural rhythm of existence. It's like trying to swim upstream versus floating with the current. Swimming upstream requires constant effort, but when you align with the current, you go with the flow and everything becomes easier. When you are aligned, you are working with the energy of the universe, not against it. The universe, or life itself, has a natural rhythm. It has a way of unfolding that doesn't need to be forced. It's not about pushing things into place. It's about knowing when to take action and when to step back and let things unfold. Alignment means trusting that life is already providing everything you need, and your role is to respond to it in the most authentic way possible. Instead of constantly trying to control the outcome, you focus on the process, on being present, and on doing your best in each moment. When you try to force something, it's as though you are holding onto a rope and pulling as hard as you can, hoping that the end result will justify your effort. But in reality, all you're doing is tightening the knot and making it harder to move forward. Alignment is the opposite of that. It's like releasing the tension in the rope, allowing it to flow freely, and trusting that everything will come together at the right time. It's not about controlling every aspect of life. It's about learning to trust the process, letting go of the need for constant control, and allowing life to unfold naturally. People who live in alignment are often more peaceful, content, and fulfilled because they are not constantly battling against the tides of life. They understand that their actions are not about controlling outcomes, but about being in harmony with the world around them. They act from a place of clarity, of knowing that they are where they need to be and that everything they need is already on its way to them. When you're in alignment, there is a sense of ease and flow. You stop fighting, stop forcing, and stop resisting what is happening around you. You accept life as it is, and in doing so, you make space for growth and transformation. Alignment also brings clarity. When you are aligned, you see things clearly, without the cloudiness of confusion, doubt, or fear. You don't waste energy on unnecessary worries or distractions. You know what your priorities are, and you can focus your energy on what matters. Instead of being overwhelmed by the noise of the world, you are able to tune in to what is truly important. Clarity comes when you stop fighting yourself and stop trying to control everything. When you are aligned, your actions are intentional and purposeful, and they naturally lead you toward your goals. In contrast, when you are out of alignment, you feel lost, disconnected, and scattered. You may be putting in a great deal of effort, but it feels like you're getting nowhere. This misalignment can lead to frustration, stress, and a sense of defeat. It's as if you're working hard, but your efforts are not yielding the results you desire. This happens when you are not in sync with yourself, your purpose, or the natural flow of life. You may be pushing against things that are meant to come to you in their own time. When you force things, you create unnecessary resistance, and that resistance blocks the very things you want to attract. Being aligned is not just about success or achievement, it's about inner peace. It's about being comfortable with who you are and where you are. It's about knowing that you don't have to fight for your place in the world. It's already been given to you. You don't have to chase after success, because success is already within you, waiting to be revealed when the time is right. When you are aligned, you no longer live in fear of the unknown, because you trust the journey. You trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should, and your role is simply to stay in alignment with that flow. When you chase after something, you are essentially running away from the present moment, from the peace that comes with being fully engaged with life as it is. The more you chase something, the more it eludes you. It's a paradox. The more you try to hold onto something, the more it slips away. Think about it for a moment when you run after something, whether it's a career goal, a relationship, or material possessions. You are not just pursuing the object of your desire. You are also creating a sense of scarcity, a belief that it is something you must have in order to be complete. This chase is driven by the fear of losing out, of not having enough, or of not being enough without what you are chasing. But what you fail to realize is that in this chase, you are running away from what you truly need, which is an alignment with your inner self. Chasing comes from a mindset of lack, the belief that what you want is outside of you, that it exists somewhere beyond your reach, waiting for you to find it. This mindset locks you in a cycle of perpetual seeking, always looking for something external to fill an internal void. The more you chase, the more you feed into that belief, reinforcing your sense of incompleteness. It's as though you are constantly searching for something that, once attained, will make everything better. But the truth is, when you finally reach it, you realize that the chase itself was the problem. It wasn't the object of your desire that would bring fulfillment. It was the peace and clarity you would find by letting go of the need to chase. The act of chasing perpetuates a sense of urgency and anxiety. When you are in a constant state of wanting, you live in the future, always anticipating what's next, but never fully living in the present. This creates a gap between where you are and where you think you should be. In that gap, you are consumed by thoughts of what you don't have, what you are missing, or what you still need to accomplish. In essence, you are trapped in a loop of longing, unable to enjoy what is right in front of you. Every moment is tainted by the belief that something is missing from your life, and in that belief, you create a false narrative that keeps you chasing endlessly. On the other hand, when you stop chasing, something profound happens. The object of your desire begins to come to you. This is not magic, nor is it coincidence. It's simply the result of shifting your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. When you stop chasing, you stop creating resistance. Instead of pushing, forcing, and striving for something that may or may not be in alignment with your true purpose, you begin to attract what is meant for you. You no longer need to chase because you have become a magnet for what aligns with your energy. The more you align with your own true nature, the more you find that life starts aligning with you. This does not mean that you stop pursuing your goals or dreams. It means that you stop running after them from a place of desperation, and instead you allow them to come to you by aligning with your higher purpose. When you stop chasing, you are not abandoning your desires. You are simply letting go of the anxiety and the fear that surrounds them. You trust that the right things will come into your life at the right time, and when they do, you will be ready to receive them with open arms, not with a sense of grasping or desperation. The energy of chasing is one of resistance. When you chase something, you are essentially telling the universe that you don't have it, that you need it, and that you are incomplete without it. This energetic resistance blocks the very thing you are trying to attract. If you are constantly in a state of chasing, you are operating from a mindset of lack. You are telling yourself that you don't have what you want, and in doing so, you only reinforce that belief. The more you chase, the more you affirm that there is a gap between you and what you desire. This gap is an illusion, but it is one that you create with your thoughts and actions. On the other hand, when you stop chasing, you stop creating that gap. You stop focusing on what you don't have and begin to focus on what you already possess: your abilities, your passions, your potential. When you stop chasing, you embrace the truth that you are already whole, that you don't need anything outside of yourself to complete you. This inner alignment allows you to move through life with a sense of peace and trust, knowing that everything you need will come to you when the time is right. You cease to be a seeker and instead become a creator, allowing your energy to draw toward you the things that resonate with your true self. This is not to say that you don't take action. When you stop chasing, you are not becoming passive or indifferent to your desires. You are simply shifting your approach. You take inspired action not out of desperation or fear, but out of clarity and purpose. When you stop chasing, your actions become more aligned with your true values rather than being driven by external pressures or the need for validation. Instead of chasing after things that may not even serve your highest good, you begin to move in the direction of what truly aligns with your soul's purpose. In this space of non-chasing, the things you desire, whether it's success, love, peace, or abundance, begin to move toward you effortlessly. The key is to stop focusing on the chase itself, and instead focus on becoming the person who naturally attracts these things. As you align with your own truth, you begin to draw to you what you have always desired, not because you are chasing it, but because you have become a vibrational match for it. Trusting existence is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. Trusting life means letting go of the need to control every outcome and acknowledging that there is a larger intelligence at play, one that is far more capable of guiding you than your mind alone can. When you trust existence, you stop trying to force things to go a particular way. You let go of the anxiety and stress that come with trying to control every aspect of your life, and instead, you allow life to unfold in its own time, with its own rhythm. It is the recognition that life is not something you need to fight against. It is something you need to surrender to. Trusting existence means accepting that you are not alone in this journey. Life is not random. There is an underlying order, a divine intelligence that operates beyond your conscious understanding. Every moment, every experience, and every encounter is part of a larger web that connects you to the world and to all of existence. When you trust life, you begin to see the interconnections between all things. You understand that nothing is happening in isolation, that everything is part of a greater design. You stop viewing events as random or meaningless and start seeing them as opportunities for growth and learning. When you don't trust life, you are constantly battling with it. You feel as if things are happening to you, as if the world is against you, and you resist every challenge, every setback, and every difficulty. You are caught in the illusion of control, believing that if you just plan harder, try more forcefully, or manipulate circumstances more skillfully, you will somehow be able to make life bend to your will. But in this struggle, you become disconnected from your true self, disconnected from the natural flow of life, and ultimately, You block the very thing you seek: peace, success, fulfillment, and joy. Trust is not about passivity. It's not about waiting around for life to give you what you want. Trust is an active engagement with the present moment. It is about being in the flow of life without forcing it, allowing things to come to you rather than chasing them. When you trust life, you are not afraid of the unknown because you know that even in the uncertainty, there is wisdom. Trusting existence means recognizing that everything that happens, both the pleasant and the difficult, is an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. Life is not something to be feared or fought against. It is not a battle to be won. It is a journey to be embraced. When you trust life, you stop fighting against what is happening and start working with it. You learn to adapt to the ebb and flow of existence, understanding that sometimes you need to move with the current, and sometimes you need to navigate through turbulence. Trusting existence means knowing that life is not trying to harm you, it is trying to teach you. Every challenge, every hardship, and every moment of pain carries within it the seeds of growth. The very fact that you are alive means that there is something for you to learn, to experience, and to contribute. When you trust existence, you stop making assumptions about what is good or bad. You stop labeling things as failures or successes. You understand that everything is part of the unfolding of your life, and every experience is a stepping stone to greater clarity and wisdom. There is no such thing as a wasted moment. There is no such thing as a mistake. Every step, every misstep is leading you toward who you are meant to become. This is the essence of trust, to believe that life knows what it is doing, even when your mind cannot see the full picture. Living with trust allows you to release the burden of expectation. When you expect things to go a certain way, you create resistance. You build a mental framework of how things should unfold, and when they don't meet your expectations, you feel disappointment, frustration, and anger. But trust liberates you from these expectations. You release the need for life to conform to your desires, and instead, you surrender to the natural flow of events. You understand that life does not owe you anything. It is not required to meet your specific expectations. The more you release your attachment to how things should be, the more you open yourself up to the possibility of things being even better than you could have imagined. Trusting existence also means trusting yourself. You cannot trust the world if you do not trust your own instincts and your own inner wisdom. Trust is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. When you trust yourself, you trust that you are capable of navigating whatever comes your way. You trust that you have the resilience, the intelligence, and the creativity to deal with challenges, to learn from failures, and to make choices that are aligned with your highest good. This inner trust is the foundation for trusting the world. When you trust yourself, you stop seeking validation from others, and you stop relying on external circumstances to define your sense of security. You know that no matter what happens in the external world, you will be okay because you trust yourself to handle it. To trust existence is to accept the unknown. It is to embrace uncertainty and live without constantly needing to know what's coming next. Trusting life means knowing that the unknown is not a threat, but a space of infinite possibilities. It is from the unknown that new opportunities, new ideas, and new paths emerge. Life is not a linear journey, but a constantly unfolding mystery. The more you trust, the more you are able to walk through life with grace, knowing that whatever comes your way is meant for you. When you trust existence, you stop worrying about the future, and you start fully living in the present. When you begin to understand that life is not a series of isolated events, but rather a continuous flow of experiences, you realize that your own journey is interconnected with everything and everyone around you. The people you meet, the places you go, and the challenges you face are not random occurrences. They are all part of a larger pattern, a cosmic design that is constantly unfolding. When you grasp this truth, you begin to let go of the illusion of control. You stop seeing yourself as the sole driver of your destiny and begin to trust the larger forces at play in your life. This understanding brings a profound sense of peace, as you realize that you are not in this alone. that life is always supporting you, guiding you toward your highest potential. The sense of interconnectedness is a recognition that everything you do, every thought you have, and every action you take sends out ripples into the world. Your energy, your intentions, and your vibrations affect the people around you and the environment in which you live. In turn, the energy of others impacts you as well. Life is not a solitary experience, it is a collective journey. The more you understand this, the more you begin to see that your actions are not just personal, but have a ripple effect on the collective consciousness. When you live with awareness of this interconnectedness, you begin to operate from a place of responsibility. You realize that every decision you make has consequences not only for yourself, but for the world at large. Living with this awareness doesn't mean that you must constantly strive to do good or to be perfect. It simply means that you act with intention and mindfulness, understanding that everything you do has an impact, no matter how small. Every conversation you have, every smile you give, every moment of kindness ripples out into the world. Even when you don't see the immediate results, know that your actions are contributing to the collective good. This understanding frees you from the need to control outcomes or to micromanage your life. You begin to trust that by living with integrity and authenticity, you are contributing to the greater whole, and that is enough. When you live with awareness of interconnectedness, you also begin to recognize the deep wisdom in everything around you. The world is full of signs, synchronicities, and lessons that are constantly available to you if you are willing to listen. Life is speaking to you at every moment, offering guidance, support, and answers to the questions you hold in your heart. But in order to hear this guidance, you must be present and open. You must stop being so absorbed in your own thoughts and distractions and allow yourself to be attuned to the subtle messages that life is sending your way. This is not about forcing answers or trying to control the direction of your life. It is about being receptive, about tuning in to the natural flow of life and allowing it to guide you. This interconnectedness also means that you are not separate from your struggles or challenges. Rather than seeing obstacles as things to be avoided or feared, you begin to understand that they are an integral part of your growth. Each challenge you face is an opportunity for transformation, for learning, and for expansion. The more you embrace this understanding, the more you realize that your difficulties are not something to fight against, but rather they are part of the unfolding process of your life. Your struggles do not define you, they refine you. They are there to help you shed the layers of ego and illusion that keep you from seeing the truth of who you really are. When you stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and instead see them as opportunities for growth, you transform your relationship with life. You stop resisting what is happening and begin to embrace it. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and instead see yourself as a participant in the grand adventure of life. This shift in perspective changes everything. You move from a mindset of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and trust. You realize that no matter what happens, you are always supported and you are always moving toward your highest good. The more you understand the interconnectedness of life, the more you realize that you are not alone. You are part of a larger whole, a greater consciousness that is always present, always guiding you, and always available to you. You are connected to the universe in ways that are beyond your comprehension. The energy that flows through you is the same energy that flows through everything in existence. You are part of a vast, intricate web of life that is constantly shifting and evolving. When you understand this, you begin to live with a deep sense of gratitude and humility. You realize that every breath you take, every moment you experience, is a gift that is part of the grand design of life. As you embrace this interconnectedness, you begin to live with greater compassion and understanding. You realize that everyone you meet is part of this same web, and that each person, no matter their circumstances, is a reflection of your own journey. The more you can see the divine in others, the more you begin to see it within yourself. You stop judging, stop labeling, and begin to see the unity that exists beneath the surface of all things. This deep sense of interconnectedness transforms the way you interact with the world. You act with kindness, with empathy, and with love, knowing that in doing so, you are contributing to the greater good. Living with an understanding of interconnectedness is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice. It requires constant awareness, openness, and humility. But as you continue on this journey, you will find that the more you align with the flow of life, the more you will experience peace, joy, and fulfillment. You will stop feeling as though you are fighting against the current, and instead, you will begin to move effortlessly with it. You will realize that everything you need is already within you, and that by living in harmony with the world around you, you are exactly where you need to be.